Guys, what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to talk about damage scaling, how much attack percentage is enough, how much is too much, does it matter, is there a such thing as too much attack or too much defense, whatever your champion is scaling their offense, their attacks, based off of, obviously some champion scales off speed, off HP, off attack percentage being the main stat. So how much is too much, right? Like, does it matter? Should we get, like, let's say we have a nuker. I'm going to pull up, like, one of the best nukers in the game right now in Queen Ava, just in terms of campaign farming, known for it. And she's good, too, because we can test her. We can run a lot of runs in campaign and just compare the damage with different gear on her, okay? So I did just that in preparation for today's video. I tried out a bunch of different champions. I tried them not just on campaign, but also on bosses, just to kind of get a feel for how it scales or multiplies based on who you're attacking. But really, and I did the most of the information that came from this video is actually just based on research on Reddit, on the Raid Shadow Legends forums, just sharing what I have kind of collected with you guys because I was doing things wrong. Now look at my Queen Eva right now, guys. Look at her total stats here. Total stats. Attack, 5,765. Crit rate, 100 on the money, and 166%, okay? So now let's go ahead and just run her in campaign, and we'll see what kind of offensive numbers that she's putting out on her A3. So campaign, we're going to go down to Brutal 12-3, where most people do their silver farming. And the affinity is going to be an even matchup. I was actually testing out Umbral just to make sure, because her attack, her offense scales off of defense. So just wanted to make sure it applied to all champions, and it does. The same kind of methodology or the same rules, I guess, apply to everybody. So an even affinity matchup, so that shouldn't really factor in here. Let's go ahead and start. And again, I have crit rate gauntlets on her with really high attack. Attack boots, attack percentage boots, attack percentage chest, and just a lot of attack substats. You're going to see crits here from 37 to 52,000, okay? I'm going to go ahead and do it one more time, and I'm going to put it in single time because that went by really fast. But check it out. So 44, 47,000. Again, the low is going to be 37. The high is going to be 53-ish, okay? So pretty consistently in the 40s so far. And then this last one, again, oh, 31K. I actually saw 31K, so even lower. And let's just do one more run, just so we can get a good baseline here. I'm going to go double speed, so just be quick here. 37, 42. I was surprised at that. 41, 47. And again here, doing around, I saw 51K there, doing around anywhere from 31 to, I don't know, 55 or so, but mostly in the 40K range, okay? So that is how I had her built, and how I had, honestly, a lot of my champions built, and boy, was I doing it wrong. Very, very wrong, and that's what I want to share with you guys. Now, I found this post that I want to share with you guys. It's a year old, so I wasn't sure if the information was still accurate on this, but indeed it actually is accurate. So because you probably can't read it, I'm just going to go ahead and read it to you guys, or read the main takeaways. It's by this guy named Beerwalker on Reddit, right? So Beerwalker1 did a lot of just studying and math way above my head, and made some graphs here. He basically found out that defense does scale, not defensive damage, but just defense on champions. So you can never have enough defense because it's non-linear, meaning that you're going to consistently see gains the more you kind of stack on. Whereas attack is linear. So what does that all mean? And I'll link this post if you guys want to really read into the numbers, and he actually has like a nice kind of summary at the bottom here. So what are the main takeaways? The main takeaways are, first off, when you're talking about champion damage, I think one misnomer out there is that, you know, if you have a high base attack on a champion, they're going to be putting out more damage consistently on all their abilities if their damage scales on attack. That is not the case, right? Because each individual skill they have, each attack they have in their kit as one of their abilities, they have different damage multipliers that is not public information, right? So we don't know this. Plarium has not released this. A lot of people in the community want them to release the damage multipliers on the skills, so we know, hey, we pull a champion, wow, they have 1,500 base attack, but yet they're not putting out incredible damage. I have a champion with 1200 base attack who's putting out more damage. Why is that, Planarium? Well, it's because we don't know those damage multipliers. We do know the damage scaling because, if they have a high base attack, well, their damage will scale theoretically better because it's based on their base attack. But anyway, what is it, beer drinker? I think it's beer drinker here, my bad. Beer walker, my bad. Beer walker has a main takeaway here after all of his kind of studying here, and it is this. Champions that have damage that scale on two things, it's usually a handicap. It's usually bad because, especially because of the lack of transparency in the game. It doesn't mean those champions are trash. It means you have to do more testing because it's not always even 50-50 scaling. So Mountain King, for example, some of his damage based on HP and attack, you kind of have to figure out which one is better, and that takes a lot of trial and error for each individual champion. It's not that they're worse. It's that you have to have both stats kind of high, and with no transparency, it's difficult to know which one you need to have higher, right? But other than that, as a general rule, total attack should be around 2.5 times bigger than your base attack. So let me go ahead and repeat that for you guys, because this is a game changer for me, and maybe this is obvious to some of you guys. Maybe some of you guys already knew it, but I didn't, honestly. I'm not afraid to say when I learn something new, right? So let's take a look at this. Total stats, base attack is almost 1700. So the total attack should be around 2.5 times the base attack. So in Queen Ava's case, maybe around 4,000 range. I have it all the way up to 6,000, but I'm just not seeing a great return on those dividends, on all that attack. I'm not seeing that great of a return. Now I'm going to go ahead and illustrate this for you guys by doing something that seems so counterintuitive to everything that you think about in Raid Shadow Legends. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the crit rate gauntlets, right? That's going to bring your crit rate super, super low. I'm going to replace it with crit damage. And the other half of that, so 2.5 times than the attack for every 20% more attack after the base attack. So for every 20% you increase beyond the character's base max attack, you should be getting 10% more crit damage. Okay? So I'll repeat that again. For every 20% more attack after their base, you should be supplementing 10% crit damage, because crit damage scales so much stronger than attack percentage or defense percentage, whatever your champion's offense is based off, okay? So I'm going to sub out these crit rate that has an attack percentage roll on it too at 13% with the glyph, and I'm actually going to put on crit damage. And you guys are going to see the difference, and hopefully, I think it was on what was the gear that I had it on? Avenging. So we're going to go ahead, and you guys are going to be, pretty stunned maybe by the differences. So I'm going to I'm trading out max crit rate for max crit damage. No other sets or anything are affected here. So we're going to equip this. Now take a look at this. First of all, her total power falls down by about 10,000 points. Just goes to show you how meaningless power kind of is as an indicator of the champion's viability. Now her crit rate is only 51%. She's only going to be critting on half of her attacks. Her attack went down a little bit, but not much. So her attack's still unnecessarily high, because I'm just not seeing this is going to be an example of taking away 50% crit rate for the crit damage of how much that impacts her hits on an average level. But at the same time, if I was going to totally re-equip her with all new artifacts, which I will be doing with all my champions, I still want to get that crit rate to 100. This is not to say that you don't need 100% crit rate. It's to say that even if you build them to, say, 70% crit rate, less attack, but way more crit damage, you're going to be way better off in terms of overall damage output. So let's go ahead and try her out here, guys. Not champions. There we go. Campaign. And again, I tried this out with many different champions. It's just easier on Ava because she's so fast, and she has the same ability 3 times in a row. So here we go. Only 50% crit rate. Keep that in mind because it's going to be important. So here we go. Boom. 40 to 50. 45 to 50. Now she will miss a crit here and there. 50 to 60. And boom, 50, all 50 plus. And that was going from 32 to what, 52? And just look at that. Even with the 50% crit rate, guys. I mean, that if that doesn't tell you something, you know, don't make the mistake I did, you know? And again, I'm sure a lot of you guys already probably knew this, but I felt it was definitely worthy sharing. And again, I want to give a huge kind of credit to Beer Walker. And again, kind of reiterate one more time what he said at the bottom. I will link this post, but he said the big takeaways are: make your total attack 2.5 times higher than your base attack. Get your crit rate to at least 50%. He goes on to say 100% crit rate. Try to get your crit rate, try to keep your crit chance and crit damage the same and raise them simultaneously. If your crit rate is 70%, and then your crit damage should also be around 70%. He says after you reach 100% crit rate, get your crit damage to 150%. Keep in mind that you not always want to get 100% crit rate from your gear if your character uses a crit chance aura. Okay. And then he says, at the point where your hero is a monster, basically what Queen Eva is there, right? But if this doesn't, don't let this stop you. Here's what you do next. For every 20% more attack, 20% from your base attack, that is, get 10% more crit damage. The takeaway is invest in crit damage. You guys saw it before your very own eyes there. It's definitely the way to go. Let's go ahead and do one more run to see what kind of crit number she has. So again, going on 1 speed, and then boom, 50, 47 to 52. I mean, all of our low numbers, even with 60k on that one, even with the 50% crit rate, guys, right? Okay, finally a failure there, but still, even with the 50% crit rate, 51, she's still doing so much more damage on a consistent basis. Think about how if I totally re-equip her, take that attack even lower, because it's not scaling that high. It's not doing me any good. It's not helpful. Hopefully you guys took away something from this video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you like the content. I appreciate you guys. And as always, take care, guys.